Hey dearies, welcome back. This is a serious topic, so if you're sensitive, just letting you know. It's about parents. Parents are the first people we trust. We expect them to guide us through childhood and care for us. Sometimes we misunderstand our parents, but unfortunately, some parents are truly evil. At the end, I'll tell you how you can stay safe. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn the bell on right now. Trust me, I'll protect you. We've all disobeyed at some point. We're kids after all. It's normal. But when kids disobey, parents will often give some type of discipline. It's not punishment, because punishing someone for just being a kid is wrong. Unfortunately, a lot of parents are just bad parents. And this mom is the worst parent. Her kid was being annoying, and instead of a simple timeout, she decided to sit on him and stop him from breathing. Let's watch this video to understand what happened.
The woman who sat on her son and crushed him to death, Jennifer Wilson. One day, the son ran away to a neighbor's house, and Jennifer Wilson reported it to the police. After reporting the police, the son was then returned home. After the mother and son were alone, the son was acting up and throwing himself on the ground in front of the house. Because the son was complaining, the 340-pound woman then sat on top of her 90-pound son and was crushing him to death.
Excuse me? What? Oh my God, do you know how much 340 pounds feels? That's the same weight as a black bear. This is obviously gonna end anyone.
The woman apparently thought the son wasn't really dying, and she thought he was faking it the whole time, until she got up and noticed that his eyelids were pale. The woman was sitting on her son for at least 5 minutes straight. The son was not breathing, and he didn't have a pulse, and was taken to the hospital, but was taken off of life support 2 days later. Before his death, the son said that the mother was abusive and would slap his face, and the mother wasn't his biological mother, it was his foster mother. The whole thing was caught on camera, and all you can hear is the boy screaming in pain. Jennifer Wilson was soon arrested and is only facing up to 6 years in prison.
She gets 6 years in prison for ending someone's life? That's it? It's so sad. This boy was let down by his family, our government, and our people. It turns out his real parents were struggling with addiction, so the government gave him to this insane foster mom. He complained all the time about the new mom, but no one took him seriously. Let's be honest about what really happened. This woman crushed a child and got away with it. And now, suddenly everyone cares. Not when he complained, but when he's gone. If this was the boy of a celebrity or CEO, I guess people would care more. But since he's just a foster kid, people only care when it's too late. I hope that one day, every child, foster, rich or poor, will be seen as priceless. And maybe we'll stop pretending to care after the coffin closes. Now, this next story is about another foster kid. Because in general, kids who are adopted tend to be mistreated the most. A lot of this mistreatment has to do with people taking in children for the wrong reasons. Instead of offering love and stability, some foster parents end up using kids for money, image, or even as free labor. And when that happens, the very system meant to protect ends up creating more harm. Some people take kids in just to feel like a savior, to make themselves feel like a good person. And that's what I believe this next mother did it for. Now, let's listen to this heartbreaking story of an innocent girl and her monster of a mother.
Worst Parents Ever, Part 7. This is the case of Ariel Robinson, one of the winners of the Worst Cooks in America. So pictured here we have 30-year-old Ariel Robinson, her husband Jerry, their 2 kids on the far right, as well as their 3 foster children, 3-year-old Victoria and her 2 brothers. So on the morning of January 14th of 2021, Jerry was doing yard work when he claimed to hear Victoria screaming from the kitchen and Ariel spanking her. The supposed reason to beating her was because she was not eating pancakes fast enough.
She hit her kid because her kid wasn't eating fast? That's just an excuse. I think she's just evil and wanted to hit her no matter what. She probably would have hit her even if the kid ate fast.
Jerry didn't intervene, and moments later he came in the house and found Victoria's lifeless body, then proceeded to try and revive her with Tylenol and an Epsom salt bath. Victoria was already suffering cardiac arrest, and by the time they got her to the hospital, she was no longer alive. Ariel first tried putting the blame on Victoria's older brother, saying he had anger issues and beat her, but then put the blame on Jerry. Still, after all of this, Ariel got life in prison, and Jerry faces 10 to 20.
First of all, thank God the mom got life in prison. A person like this doesn't deserve to be free. Sorry, but she did all this because the kid didn't eat pancakes fast enough? Is she insane? Pancakes aren't even good for you. You should be happy she's not eating a ton of them. Dearies, eat what you want. when you want. Just make sure to not go too overboard with sugar and brush your teeth afterwards, okay? And if you don't want food sometimes because you're full, don't force yourself to eat more. When people tell you to clean the plate and you're full, just stop. They shouldn't be forcing you anyway. Hey, dearies, listen. I know this is all some sad stuff, so let's take a short break from the sad stories and look at some truths about what happens when kids are hurt by their parents. And by the way, children should never be hit for misbehaving. It is always wrong. So please, watch this with me.
Do you know what children think in their hearts after being hit? These seemingly simple reactions hide their truest feelings. First, when a child hides after being hit, it means they want to escape. This is their way of seeking peace. They need a quiet space to sort out their emotions. Second, when a child reaches out for a hug after being hit, it shows that the child loves their parents so much and is afraid of being neglected and abandoned. All they need is a warm embrace to soothe their hurt heart. Third, when a child stands stubbornly in place and refuses to admit mistakes after being hit, it's not disobedience, but that they feel it's unfair. They want to talk to you, but are afraid to open their mouth. They just want you to understand them, yet fear being blamed. Fourth, when a child cries until they fall asleep after being hit, it's not just simple tiredness, but a kind of escape. They use sleep to avoid pain. Because for them, once asleep, they don't have to feel sad anymore. We always say, I hit you for your own good. But is this really good for the child? What the child remembers is only the fear and helplessness at that moment. We can have a heart-to-heart talk with the child to understand their true thoughts. To educate children, we should persuade with virtue. After reading this, can you still bear to hit your child?
I truly hope that none of you can relate to this. I wish you all well, dearies, and I hope you have the bestest parents in the world. And now, let's continue with our true horror story about horrible parents. What happens if you get a bad grade in school? Do your parents get mad? Well, what if you got a B+? My parents wouldn't care at all as long as I was getting over a C. And if I was getting a really bad mark, they'd probably just refund me at Walmart. I'm just kidding. Well, unfortunately, this one parent was so horrible that they ruined their daughter's party just for getting a bad mark on her test. It was such a bad mark. It was a B+. Let's take a look at another horrible parent.
The worst parents of all time. When this girl was 11, she was a straight A student, and it was her best friend's birthday party coming up, and she was so very excited. Well, report cards came in one day, and turns out she got a B in one of her classes. Well, her parents were pissed. They grounded her on the spot, and they told her that she couldn't go to her best friend's birthday party.
I don't understand how that's supposed to help. Bro, they're basically saying, my daughter got a bad mark, so I made her feel bad, then I made her feel worse by preventing her from going to a party.
What?
Yep. That'll definitely make her want to do better in school. Genius thinking parents. Wow. Not.
She told her best friend's mom what happened. Her best friend's mom knew how tough it was for her at home because she was constantly being yelled at, belittled, and hit by her parents all the time. So on the day of the party, right before it was gonna start, her best friend's mom drove to her house, barged in the door, and said this. Sweetie, hi, I need you to get ready, pack a bag, you're coming to my daughter's party and you're spending the night, okay? Quick, let's go. Excuse me, you are not taking my daughter anywhere. She is grounded and staying home tonight. Oh, is that so? Well, how about I call Child Protective Services on you for the 50 cats pissing and in your house? That's what I thought. Have a great night.
Wow, that girl's friend's mom is goated. Basically, the girl had a bad mom who wouldn't let her go to a party, but her friend's mom noticed and took her anyway. You know, it's times like this where you just gotta ask your friend if they'll adopt you. But for real, pushing your kid to get good grades is fine, as long as you're not punishing them harshly. Because if you do that, you risk teaching them fear instead of love. And no grade is worth that lesson. Now, this next story is a bit disturbing and not for sensitive people. But listen, I'm here with you, and you're super brave, so we can go through this together, and then we can discuss it, okay? It's about a young girl named Jeanie, who was locked away by her cruel parents. Let's watch till the end.
Disturbing footage shows Jeanie Wiley being allowed outside after being trapped in a dark room for over a decade. Jeanie was a victim of severe abuse, neglect, and social isolation. When she was approximately 20 months old, her father began keeping her in a locked room. During this period, he almost always strapped her to a child's toilet or bound her in a crib with her arms and legs immobilized, forbade anyone from interacting with her, provided her with almost no stimulation of any kind, and left her severely malnourished. Clark Wiley, Jeannie's brutal dad, turned into a cruel psychopath after his mom was killed in a hit-and-run accident by a drunk driver.
Just want to say I hate drunk drivers. When you guys grow up, promise that you won't ever do something so dangerous, okay?
From that moment on, Wiley kept a private life and made sure the family house was always dark with the curtains closed and doors bolted shut. Irene Wiley, the mother of Jeanie, also lived in the disturbed house. She suffered with very bad cataracts and was controlled by Clark out of fear. The couple had 4 children, but only 2 barely survived. The first 2 died as babies, one alone in a cold garage and the other through birth complications. Jeanie was 13 years old when she was finally discovered by authorities. Her father, Clark Wiley, shot himself at 70 just before he was due in court for child abuse after getting arrested, leaving behind a note which simply read, "The world will never understand." At 18, Jeanie moved back into the house she was abused in with her mother.
Dearies, do you know what isolation is? It means being alone and not speaking or meeting anyone. It's extremely bad for us as humans because we need people to be happy. We need to be with others. We need to socialize to be healthy. Even though some of us are introverts, being completely alone for a long time can hurt our mental health. Just because her dad was suffering doesn't make it okay to make her suffer too. Her parents were simply unwell. It's sad what's been done to Jeanie, but look, although we don't know what Jeanie is doing now, if she is still alive, she would be around 68 years old. And the last time we heard about Jeanie was in 2000. A private investigation revealed that Jeanie was living in an adult care facility. The facility wasn't great, but the report said she was happy, so it's very likely that Jeanie is still living happily today. Now, before we continue with a few more sad and creepy stories, if you could please like and subscribe, that would be super motivational for me. Thank you. What's your favorite food? Tell me in the comments below. We all deserve to eat yummy food and candy, and our parents give us really good food all the time, right? That's because they care. Your parents love you and they want you to grow up big and strong and finally carry all the groceries in one trip instead of making them do it. But some parents are so selfish they think being a skinny ballerina is more important than waffles. Wow. These are the most evil parents ever. Watch till the end.
Her parents starved her so she could be their little girl forever. Now I want you to look at this girl and I want you to comment how old you think she is, okay? Here's another photo of her. Comment and then I'll tell you how old she was. She was 16 in this photo and she weighed 60 pounds. Officials warned them that she could pass from this and her dad dismissed it saying that they were crazy. But like that actually is the reason. Like they wanted her to stay their little girl forever. Like, ew, what? And that's why they put her on this crazy diet.
It sounds like these parents didn't want to raise a kid, they wanted a pet. Gross. Some people have kids just because they want a minion, basically. I think you should need a license to be a parent.
They had a rich family, they lived in Australia. Also, her face is covered and the parents' names are not out to help protect her identity. Started their investigation after her ballet teachers tipped them off, and that really shows what like a good teacher or mentor or just adult in your life can do for you. Just how amazing some role models or educators really are. But CPS got involved. They have been charged and sentenced. They're hiding their faces here, as they should. Who does this to a child? Like, good for them for realizing something was wrong and doing something about it. Because I feel like a lot of the times people are like, oh, like, it's not my kid. The parents can handle it. I hope they rot. And I'm ready to know who they are. I'm ready. This is gonna ruin her for the rest of her life, but I'm glad she's now in a place where she is safe and she is able to begin her recovery, but it's gonna suck and it's gonna be so hard and she's gonna struggle with this forever, all because of these 2 monsters.
Why did her parents do it? It wasn't because they loved her. It came from their own fears and insecurities. They were scared of the world and wanted to keep her small so she could never grow beyond what they could control. They let their worries and their mistakes decide how she lived instead of caring for her the way a parent should. It's heartbreaking to think about, and it can feel scary to imagine that someone you love could hurt you. But even though she went through all that pain, she survived. She's still learning and growing, and there are people in the world who care about her and want to keep her safe. Remember, kiddo, there are scary things in the world, but there is also kindness, love, and people who will protect you. You are never alone, and you deserve to be safe, happy, and free to grow into the amazing person you are. These next parents are probably the worst on this list. They had 13 kids, 13, and they kept them just to torture them. Don't be afraid, dearies. Watch till the end, and then I'll explain the truth.
Parents that we're mentioning in this slideshow are probably one of the worst parents you'll ever have heard of. This slideshow starts off with an image showing the parents, David and Louise Turpin, David and Louise's entire family consisting of 13 children, and photos of the home that they and their children lived in. David and Louise got married in 1985 when David was 23 years old and Louise was only 16.
Yeah. That's a crime right there, by the way.
And because of their religion, they believed that they needed to bring as many children into the world as possible, so they got to work and had 13 kids. However, despite the fact the family looked happy from the outside, this could not be further from the truth. For years, David and Louise would falsely imprison the children in their rooms, performing a variety of different horrendous acts, only ever allowed them to eat once a day and bathe once a year. Eventually, on January 14th, 2018, a 17-year-old daughter of theirs ended up escaping, calling the police, and they were caught. They received 25 years to life. This case really goes to show that even though things might look okay from the outside, sometimes they're not.
This story really hits because it's a reminder to always check in with people. A lot of the time, someone might seem fine on the outside, but inside, they could be hurting and trapped. Asking, "Are you okay?" or noticing when something feels off can actually make a huge difference. The good thing is the parents got punished properly and justice was served. And even better, the kids are now free. They're starting to rebuild their lives, learning what it's like to eat when they're hungry, laugh when they want, and just be themselves without fear. That's the part that's really powerful. Maybe one day I'll be able to be myself too. One day I'll simply become an orange, literally. This final story isn't really a story. It's for you. Maybe this doesn't apply to you, but it might apply to one person that's watching right now. And if that one person can be helped by this next video, then that's good enough for me. Please listen closely to what this next clip is about to say.
Here are signs that you were raised by toxic parents. 1. Guilt was their favorite weapon. Your parents constantly reminded you of everything they did for you, making you feel like you owed them. You'd hear things like, "I sacrificed so much for you," or "I put a roof over your head and food on the table." They say this, but providing basic necessities isn't a sign of being a good parent. It's the bare minimum required to avoid neglect. 2. Your worth depended on how useful you were to them. If you weren't benefiting them in some way, whether financially, emotionally, or socially, they made you feel like a burden. Your needs were only acknowledged if they aligned with theirs. 3. They tore you down instead of lifting you up. Seeing you happy and independent made them uncomfortable because they were never able to achieve that for themselves. Instead of celebrating your growth, they belittled you to feed their own ego, making sure you never felt too confident in your own skin. 4. They compared you to others. Rather than appreciating you for who you were, they constantly pointed out how others were smarter, more successful, or better than you. 5. They controlled you through fear. Instead of guiding you with love and support, they used threats, punishments, or silent treatment to make sure you did what they wanted.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of you are thinking, well, Adorkable, my parents are wonderful, so that clip was useless. And honestly, I'm really happy for you. I'm glad it felt useless, because that means you're being loved, respected, and cared for in ways that so many kids never get to experience. That's something truly special, and it's worth appreciating every single day. But the reality is, many other children aren't as lucky. Many kids grow up in homes where love is conditional, where respect is missing, or where fear and neglect are part of daily life. This isn't just a story or a clip. It's a reminder of what some children endure quietly, without anyone noticing, and how important it is to speak up, check in, and care for the people around us. So, if that clip didn't resonate with you, remember to be grateful. And if it did, remember why it matters, because every child deserves to be seen, heard, and loved for exactly who they are. And with that, my dearies, I bid you farewell for this video. I'll be back soon, but please don't forget to like and subscribe with all notifications on if you don't want to miss me. I hope you'll be there for my next video very soon. Toodles!